Hey everyone, welcome back to Tune in English, your place for real, natural English conversations. I'm Adam.
And I'm Anna. We're so happy you're here with us today. If you're new, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our daily English practice episodes.
All right, Anna, before we jump into today's topic, I have to ask, how was your weekend? Did you finally relax or were you working the whole time again?
I wish I could say I relaxed. I actually worked on a branding project for a client, and honestly, it turned into a perfect example for today's lesson.
Oh, really? That sounds interesting already. What happened?
Well, first she emailed me and said I should change the colors. Then in the next message, she said I must use their official brand font. And then later she said I should maybe consider a different layout. By the end of the day, I was completely confused.
Ah, I see the problem already. She used both should and must.
Exactly. And I kept thinking, okay, which one is serious? Which one is optional? Am I going to get in trouble if I don't do this?
That is such a common situation, and it's actually perfect because today we're talking about the difference between should and must in everyday English.
Wait, there's really a big difference? I always thought they both just meant do this.
They both tell someone to do something, yes, but the strength is completely different. Think of it like this. Should is like a friendly hand on your shoulder. Must is like a firm grip that won't let go.
Oh, I love that image. Friendly hand versus firm grip. Okay, I'm listening carefully now.
Let's start with should. We use should mostly for advice and suggestions. When you say should, you're giving your opinion about what is a good idea.
So if I say, you should try that new coffee shop, I'm just recommending it.
Exactly. You think it's a good idea, but the other person still has a choice. They can say no thanks, and that's totally fine.
What about something stronger, like you should see a doctor? That feels serious.
It does feel serious, but it's still advice. You're worried. You think seeing a doctor is the right thing, but they can still choose not to go.
So the key word is choice. With should, the other person still has freedom.
Yes, that's the heart of it. Should is flexible. It leaves space for decision.
Okay, that makes sense. But I've also heard sentences like, the package should arrive tomorrow. That's not advice.
Great point. Should has another use. We also use it to talk about expectation. When you believe something will probably happen, you can use should.
So it's like prediction?
Yes, but softer than will. For example, the meeting should end at 3 p.m. That means, according to the schedule, I expect it to end at 3 p.m.
But it might not.
Exactly. It's not 100% guaranteed. You're just saying it's likely.
Okay, let me try. She should be here by now. That means I expected her to arrive already.
Perfect. You're not giving advice, you're expressing expectation.
So should has two main uses, advice and expectation.
You've got it. Context tells you which one it is.
All right, now let's talk about must. I feel like this one is more intense.
It definitely is. Must shows obligation. It means something is necessary. There is no choice.
Like a rule?
Exactly like a rule. For example, you must wear a seatbelt. That's the law.
Students must submit homework by Friday. That sounds serious.
Yes, because there are consequences. If they don't submit it, something happens.
So if I tell my friend, you should wake up earlier, that's advice. But if a boss says, you must arrive by 9 a.m., that's an obligation.
Exactly. Think of a volume dial. Should is at volume 5, must is at volume 10.
Oh, I like that comparison. So my client saying, you should change the colors was volume 5, but you must use the brand font was volume 10.
Yes, and that's how you know what is negotiable and what isn't.
This already makes me feel calmer. I can see the difference clearly now.
Good. Now here's something interesting. Must can also be used for strong recommendations.
Wait, I thought must was only for rules.
Not always. Sometimes native speakers use must when they feel very strongly about something. For example, you must try this restaurant.
Oh, that sounds excited.
Exactly. It's not a rule, it's enthusiastic advice.
So, you should try this cake is normal advice, but you must try this cake means the cake changed your life.
Yes, it's almost emotional.
I love that. English is so dramatic sometimes.
It really is, and tone matters a lot. If you say must in a serious tone, it sounds strict. If you say it with excitement, it sounds passionate.
So intonation changes everything.
Absolutely. That's why listening practice is so important. You learn to hear these differences naturally.
Okay, I have a question. What about the negative forms, shouldn't and must not?
This is where things get very important. Shouldn't means I advise you not to do something.
Like, you shouldn't stay up so late.
Exactly. That's advice against something. But again, the person still has a choice.
And must not.
Must not means prohibition. It means it is forbidden, not allowed.
So, you must not park here means I absolutely cannot park there.
Yes, there will be consequences.
Wow, that's a big difference. Shouldn't is gentle advice, must not is strict prohibition.
Exactly. And here's a very common mistake. Many learners confuse must not with don't have to.
Oh no, that sounds dangerous. What's the difference?
Must not means it is forbidden. Don't have to means there is no obligation. It's optional.
Give me an example.
You must not wear shoes in this temple. That means no shoes allowed.
Okay.
You don't have to wear shoes in this house. That means wearing shoes is optional.
Oh, one is forbidden, the other is free choice. That's a huge difference.
Yes, if someone says you must not enter this room and you think it means you don't have to enter, you could get into serious trouble.
My stomach just felt nervous imagining that.
Exactly. So remember, must not equals forbidden. Don't have to equals not necessary.
Okay, that's very clear.
Now let's move to the past. We often use should have to talk about regret.
Oh, I know that feeling already.
For example, I should have studied harder. That means I regret not studying.
Or, I should have saved my work before my computer crashed.
The every professional's nightmare.
The worst feeling.
And in natural speech, we usually don't say should have, we say shoulda.
Shoulda? I shoulda gone to bed earlier.
Perfect pronunciation.
Okay, what about must have in the past?
That's for strong deduction. For example, she must have forgotten.
So, I didn't see it happen, but I'm very sure.
Yes, you're making a logical guess based on evidence.
The cookies are gone. Someone must have eaten them.
Exactly, that's deduction.
So, should have is regret, must have is deduction.
Perfect summary.
This is starting to feel really natural now.
Good, because we're going to practice with real-life situations next. All right, let's put this into real-life situations so everyone listening can really feel the difference.
Yes, I love practical examples. That's when everything clicks.
All right, situation 1. Your friend has a job interview tomorrow. What do you say?
I'd probably say you should prepare some questions to ask the interviewer. That sounds supportive and helpful.
Perfect, that's advice. Now imagine you're the hiring manager and it's company policy.
Then I would say all candidates must prepare at least 3 questions.
Exactly, now it's a rule, no choice.
I can really feel that difference. When I say should, I feel kind and supportive. When I say must, I feel serious and official.
That emotional feeling actually helps you choose the right word.
Okay, next situation. Your friend ate too much at dinner and now feels sick.
Classic problem.
I'd say you shouldn't have eaten so much.
Good, that's gentle criticism or advice about the past.
And if I'm talking about myself, I'd say I should have stopped after the second slice of pizza.
Yes, that's regret. You're looking back and thinking that was a mistake.
I feel like should have is one of the most emotional grammar forms in English. It always comes with a little pain.
That's true. There's almost always disappointment attached to it.
Okay, situation 3. There's a big sign at a lake that says, no swimming.
Then you say, you must not swim here.
Because it's forbidden.
Exactly. But if there's no sign and the water looks dirty...
Then I'd say you shouldn't swim in that water.
Perfect. Advice versus prohibition.
This is so practical. I can already imagine using this tomorrow.
Let's do one more. Your coworker works until midnight every night.
I'd say you should take more breaks, or you shouldn't work so late.
Good. Friendly advice. Now imagine their doctor spoke to them.
The doctor might say you must rest more, or you must not work such long hours.
Exactly, because doctors often give medical instructions, not just suggestions.
So certain roles use must more often.
Yes, police officers, teachers giving exam rules, safety instructors, doctors, these people often use must because they're expressing official obligation.
While friends and family usually use should.
Right, if you use must with friends about personal choices, it can sound bossy.
Oh, okay, that's important. So if my friend asks, what should I wear to the party, and I say, you must wear the red dress, that might sound controlling.
It could, unless you're clearly being playful or enthusiastic.
So tone and relationship matter.
A lot. English isn't just grammar, it's social feeling.
That's such a good way to say it, social feeling.
Now let's talk about work emails, because this is where many learners feel nervous.
Yes, emails are scary.
In professional communication, should is usually safer. For example, you should submit the report by Friday.
Exactly, if it's a legal requirement or a non-negotiable deadline.
That's extremely helpful. I've definitely worried about sounding too strong in emails before.
Many learners do, and sometimes they avoid must completely, even when it's necessary.
So balance is key.
Yes, now let's move to questions. We often hear, should I?
Like, should I call her back?
Exactly. When you say should I, you're asking for advice.
Should I bring something to the party?
Perfect example. You're asking for someone's opinion.
What about must I?
Must I is asking if something is required. It's more formal.
Like, must I attend this meeting?
Yes, and sometimes it even sounds dramatic or reluctant.
It feels like a teenager complaining, must I clean my room?
That's exactly the feeling.
So, in everyday conversation, should I is much more common than must I.
Definitely. Must I sounds formal, old-fashioned, or emotional.
This is so interesting. Grammar really carries personality.
It does, and once you understand that, your English becomes more natural.
Okay, I want to share something personal. Last week, my dog Biscuit had a vet appointment.
Oh no, is Biscuit okay?
He's fine, but the vet said he should lose a little weight.
So that's advice.
Yes, but then she said he must not eat human food anymore.
That's a rule.
Exactly. So I should take him on longer walks, but I must not give him table scraps.
Perfect real-life example.
And then my landlord said, you should try the new dog park nearby. Friendly suggestion.
But if he says you must keep your dog quiet after 10 p.m., that's a building rule.
Which he has definitely said before.
That's obligation.
Okay, let's summarize clearly for everyone listening.
Should is used for advice and expectation. It's softer. The other person usually has a choice.
Must is used for obligation, rules, and very strong feelings. It's firm. Often there's no choice.
Shouldn't is advice against something.
Must not is prohibition, forbidden.
And don't forget, must not is different from don't have to.
Yes, must not means you cannot do it. Don't have to means it's optional.
And in the past,
Should have expresses regret.
must have expresses strong deduction.
I feel like everything is organized neatly in my brain now.
That's what we want for you too.
All right, let's go through our key phrases slowly so you can repeat after us and really practice the pronunciation.
Phrase 1. You should try.
You should try the new cafe.
You should try.
Phrase 2, you must see.
You must see this movie.
You must see.
Phrase 3. Should've.
I should have studied earlier.
Should've.
Phrase 4, must not.
You must not enter this area.
Must not.
Phrase 5. Shouldn't worry.
You shouldn't worry so much.
Phrase 6. Should be.
The train should be here soon.
Phrase 7. Must be.
She must be tired.
Phrase 8. Don't have to.
You don't have to come if you're busy.
Phrase 9. Should I?
Should I call him now?
Phrase 10. Must I?
Must I finish this today?
Excellent. Now, before we finish, we want to challenge you. Here's your challenge for today. Think about your own life. What's something you should do for your health this week, and what's something you must do at work or school?
Yes. Pause this episode if you need to. Really think about it. For example, I should drink more water every day. I know it's good for me.
That's a great one. For me, I should stretch more because I sit at my desk too long.
See, those are personal health habits. No one is forcing us. We have a choice.
Exactly. Now let's talk about must. At work, I must submit my project reports by Friday afternoon. That's a deadline. If I don't do it, there are consequences.
At the studio, I must check all audio equipment before recording. That's not optional. If I forget, the whole episode could be ruined.
So, when you write your comment, try to use both words. For example, I should go to bed earlier, but I must wake up at 6 a.m. for work.
That's such a realistic sentence.
And when you create your own examples, you're not just listening, you're actively building your English.
Which means you're more likely to remember it.
Exactly. Passive listening is good. Active practice is better.
I also want to say something encouraging. If you sometimes mix up should and must, that's completely normal. Even advanced learners hesitate sometimes.
Absolutely. Language learning is a process. You don't have to be perfect.
Nice use of don't have to, Adam.
Thank you. And notice I didn't say you must be perfect.
Because that would be impossible and stressful.
Exactly. And that's another emotional difference. Must can feel heavy. Should feels lighter.
That's such a good way to think about it. When you choose between these words, ask yourself, do I want to sound supportive or do I need to sound firm?
And also ask, is this advice, expectation, obligation, or deduction?
I love how clear this becomes when we break it down like that.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick rapid-fire practice. I'll say a situation and you respond quickly with should or must.
Okay, let's do it.
Your friend looks tired and stressed.
You should take a break.
There's a sign that says no entry.
You must not enter.
The lights are off and the door's locked.
They must have left already.
You didn't study and failed the test.
I should have studied harder.
Your flight schedule says arrival at 8 p.m.
The plane should arrive at 8 p.m.
Perfect. That's exactly how you want your brain to respond, naturally and quickly.
This kind of fast practice really helps build confidence.
And confidence changes how you speak. When you're confident, your English sounds smoother and more natural.
I feel like today's episode was powerful but also very practical.
I agree. These are small words, but they carry big meaning.
So remember, should is your friendly advisor.
And must is your strict rule maker.
And must not is the serious one, no breaking the rules.
While don't have to gives you freedom.
We hope this episode helped you feel clearer and more confident using these modal verbs in everyday English.
If it did, you should share this episode with a friend who's learning English.
But you don't have to.
It's your choice.
And if you really loved it,
You must come back tomorrow for another episode.
that sounded very dramatic.
I meant it in an enthusiastic way.
We know you'll make the right choice.
Thanks for tuning in to Tune In English.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep growing.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.